Hi, everybody. Wayne Haney here, your local licensed insurance counselor, broadcasting from beautiful downtown Lake Orion at Haney Farm Bureau. So, if you have followed any of my other videos, you've heard me talk quite a lot about liability, sometimes related to auto, sometimes related to home. Um, and as I've mentioned in several other places, liability is a fancy word that boils down to lawsuit. So if you're on the receiving end of a lawsuit and you're found at fault or guilty or liable for damages, then that's prices that you have to, or money that you have to pay out to the courts to settle this liability that you have. That's where insurance can step up and help you. So say you are found liable for $500,000 of somebody else's medical bills, and if you don't want to pay or cannot pay that $500,000 out of your own pocket, then the liability insurance in your home or your auto, whichever one might cover that, would step up. All well and good. But what happens if you don't have enough coverage on your home or your auto? Say instead of a $500,000 claim, which most home and auto policies should be prepared to take care of on their own, what if it's a $750,000 claim or a $1 million settlement or a $1.5 million amount of money that you're considered liable for? What happens then? Well, first, if whatever you're liable for is something that can be helped through your auto liability or your home liability, then those will do what they can. After that, at least in the state of Michigan, the courts can and do take 25% of our pre-tax paycheck, and they literally withhold that paycheck by paycheck by paycheck, send it to the courts, and then it's distributed um, to the person that is receiving that liability claim. However, if you have more than that $500,000 of insurance through your home or your auto, then you can buy more just liability insurance. And every company is a little bit different. Farm Bureau, where I work, our home and auto on their own can go up as high as $1 million all by themselves. But even then, there are definitely cases, I see two or three of them every single month, where the liability settlement is over $1 million, even $1 million mark. Well, so then what do? That's where something called an umbrella comes into play. And I'm not talking about a boomer chute that you put up over your head when it's raining, but it is an insurance policy that you put up over everything. And they're called umbrellas because umbrellas go over everything that is under them. So if it's written well and properly, then you have on the personal side a home policy with its own liability, an auto policy with its own liability, and then an umbrella policy that covers both of them. So if you have that situation where there's a, let's say, $1.5 million amount of money that you're liable for, then, and let's say that for easy math, that both the home and the auto have a $500,000 limit. So that claim comes in, it goes to court, the settlement's resolved, and yep, you owe $1.5 million. The home or the auto will pay $500,000, then the umbrella will pay the next million. And so you effectively have a $1.5 million shield. Now, there is something in an umbrella policy called a retention amount. It feels a little bit like a deductible, except what it really is the amount that you're required to pay before the umbrella policy kicks in. In most cases, that retention amount is about $10,000. But if you're looking at $1 million payout in the grand scheme of things, what's $10,000 among friends, right? And so that's how umbrellas work. And the other question then comes into play: do you need one? And so I go back to my point about your paycheck. So what I routinely will do with folks is ask them what their annual income is. You can write yours down. Multiply that by 25% because that's what the courts can withhold. Multiply that number by how many years you expect to earn that much money. At the very least, whatever that is, do that math. At the very least, I would have that much total liability coverage if I were you, because that's going to at least protect your day-to-day paycheck. Now, to be more accurate, you might want to add into that other liquid money that the courts could go after, CDs, savings, um, some investment monies. Those are all things that can be included as well. Technically, the statute says that equity in a home can be used as well for coming up with this number. In practice, it's extremely unusual for a court or a jury to order somebody to literally sell their home to pull that equity out. But if you wanted to be very accurate about this, you could add that in as well. And so whatever that total amount of money that you've worked hard and wealth that you've worked hard to create, whatever that total amount is, the purpose of liability insurance is to make sure that you get to keep that. And if, God forbid something happens and you still are liable, you'll make it right, but you'll make it right with the help of your insurance company as opposed to having to do it completely on your own, which after all is what insurance is for. So as always, questions about this or anything else, I am Wayne Haney, the local licensed insurance counselor in these parts, but happy to talk to anybody. Feel free to send me a message or call Haney Farm Bureau, and whether you're my client or not, I'm a counselor, very happy to help. Have a great day, and please be safe.